A Miracle on Christmas Lake is quite an interesting story. It's not necessarily the most engaging throughout, but I was curious to see where they'd go with this, and it definitely has some emotional scenes as well. This was released in 2016. It's directed by John Kissack, written by Shaun Crawford, and we have Kristian Wang playing our protagonist, Bobby. And Bobby recently lost his best friend, and obviously this is around the Christmas period, and they used to play a lot of ice hockey on this lake. And he goes to this lake, and it's covered in snow, and he starts to scrape away the snow, and then this just perfect lake appears in front of him, and it only seems to appear for him. And unfortunately, it seems like the future of the lake may not be completely safe either. And I don't want to say too much more about that, but there are quite a few different things going on here, and I think they handled every part of the narrative really well. I thought it was quite an interesting story. Sure, some scenes are maybe not the most interesting. I think we could have lost a good 20 minutes from this without really losing any of the narrative. And it is about an hour and 50 minutes. But I never really felt like it was too long. I wasn't sitting there going, this is tremendously longer than it needs to be. But certainly there were scenes we could have lost and maybe just quickened things up and tightened the pacing up a little bit. Bobby is a very likeable protagonist. I thought he was a very well-written character, really good performance. All of the characters are absolutely fine, very well written, but Bobby certainly was the main focus. The Christmas aspect as well is quite nice. It's not completely in your face. So if you don't like Christmas films that are a bit too sickly sweet, that's not going to be a problem here. And sure, the ice hockey part of it didn't appeal to me. I don't care for ice hockey, but that is in your face either. So if, like me, you're not that bothered about ice hockey and don't really know that much about it, that's not going to be a problem. It's not one of those films where every scene is about that sport. And obviously, the emotional aspect is quite strong. Definitely very well handled, very well done, very moving. So in general, I have no complaints about this. It's pretty decent. A little bit longer than it needed to be, but as I said, I wasn't there sitting thinking this is going on way longer than necessary. I think we could have just tightened it up a little bit. But other than that, no problems at all. A Miracle on Christmas Lake is a pretty magical, quite frequently emotional, and fascinating story with some great performances, very likeable characters, and a nice, sometimes subtle Christmas aspect. Not a bad film, and if it sounds like it would appeal to you, then I'd say, at least as a one-time watch, it's not too bad and probably worth watching.